Welcome to From Betrayal to Breakthrough. I'm Dr. Debi Silber, and here's a dose of Dr. Debi. Have you been working hard to make changes in an area like your health, work, or relationships, and notice that just about when that change happens, you seem to somehow sabotage yourself? What's up with that? There's a really good reason for it, and it's what I'll be talking about in today's episode. I'll meet you there. Hi there, Dr. Debi. So this keeps coming up. It was coming up the last few days within the PBT Institute. So it always has me thinking, well, maybe it's something that needs to be discussed. It was all about self-sabotage. And I did two TEDx talks. The first one, Stop Sabotaging Yourself, was about this. But I want to share it because maybe this is something you're doing. And if so, it's preventing you from everything you want, from the health, from the relationships, from the abundance, from the finances, all of it. And what happens is, it's like everything is going a certain way, and then there's this unease. What used to work doesn't work. What used to feel good doesn't feel good. What used to make sense doesn't make sense anymore. And it's sort of this calling, letting us know, hey, you know what? We need to play a little bit bigger. We need to do things a little bit differently. But think about what happens. If we actually stop and listen to what that voice is trying to say, it's going to cause a whole kind of shakeup. So what we do is that's where we start numbing, avoiding, distracting, to numb that voice. Because if we pay attention, if we listen, it's going to create, all of these changes that's going to shake up everything we've created around us, everything we feel safe with, everything we've grown used to. So, but what happens is that voice starts to get louder and louder. So the stakes get bigger and bigger. So let's say, you used to take a glass of wine, now it's taking two or three. You used to take, a few cookies, now you're eating a whole bunch more, whatever it is, whatever your vice is. But what's happening with sabotage is it's keeping us in this place very often where we don't have to think. And in that TEDx talk, I gave three different examples of clients. One was a woman who she came to me for weight loss, and it's rarely about the food. So we start doing all these things. She loses the weight, and all of a sudden she realizes, oh my gosh, I hate my job. I'm not even sure I love my husband. So you would think she would work out those things and figure it out. But instead, she stopped seeing me, went back to her old way of eating, put the weight back on. You see, it's to sabotage her success. So she wouldn't have to look at those questions and answer those questions. There was another one, top of her game. She was an expert in her field, and climbing the corporate ladder for 25 years in a field she chose just to please her parents. Well, she sees me to get her energy back up. And so we get her energy back up, and then she discovers all of this. And now think about it. Instead of, I hate my job. I hate my life. I don't want to do this. This stinks. What else could I do? What would suit me right now? Here she was, she gave up everything. She never got married, never had a family. She was married to her job, but it was too big and it was too overwhelming. So instead of exploring all of those other changes, what did she do? Buried herself in work, sabotaged her success. And then I gave a final example of, and this is, in that TEDx, of, I remember his name was Greg, and he would go out with his friends and grab a beer and complain about his job and his wife and his life and all of it. And then he realized, if I'm going to complain about it, I really should do something. So he dove into the world of personal development. And if you've done that, you're like a kid in a candy store. It's like the greatest thing ever, right? And so he does that, and he's all excited to share it with his friends, hoping that they'll be on board and do this with him. But instead, they're mocking him. And they're just making fun of, Greg and his new ways. So he had two choices. Does he continue with this and just keep growing and possibly outgrow them? Or what did he choose? He chose, I'm going to get rid of the personal development, and instead he would drink more when he was with him. That was his choice, and he sabotaged his success. And here's the important thing also when it comes to who you're spending your time with. And I see this so often. Before, we have a lot of people who come into the PBT Institute. They've been in other support groups or that kind of thing. And now think about it. Here it is. You want a group that gets it, that understands where you've been. And that can be really, really helpful. But here's the challenge with that. What happens when you start to heal? You see, now do you not belong anymore? And it's a real consideration. So you want to make sure that the people you're surrounding yourself with help you grow. And if that's the path you're on, you need people around you to support that growth. And it's something that I see where someone is in some kind of group and they start growing, but that they sabotage their success because they don't want to outgrow their new group. And one way around this is, if you have your group, well, find those friends and the support you can grow with. So this way you have that group and you feel good with them, but you're also moving towards this other area of support who gets you, who understands it, and who may be a few steps ahead of you. It's like you never want to be the smartest person in the room, right? And you want these people who maybe they've been there, they've found some ways around something, and they're helping you. They've sort of paved a path and helping you walk on the path that they've paved, or at least they're a step or two ahead of you. And this way it pulls you forward. But I'm bringing this up because it is so common to feel success in the areas of health or work or relationships and find a way to sabotage ourselves because we don't want to outgrow our relationship, our current whatever it is, because it shakes up everything around us. Thinking is hard and changing is hard. And it's also the most transformative thing you do, because whenever it comes to transformation, it never ever happens from the place you've been and from staying stuck. It happens when you are willing. Willingness is just probably one of the biggest words here. When you are willing to face it, feel it, heal it. And the facing it is good. The feeling it is really important. And the healing it is super important. And it happens when you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, I know there's no way to it but through it, and you are just willing to get a little messy and uncomfortable. But that's how you get to that other side. And I always use this analogy of, imagine if you have a messy room. Like, let's say you have a messy garage and you think it's not vying for your attention. Oh, but it is. And you just grab what you need to and you're out of there because it doesn't feel good. Right. And because it's bothering you. It's like, it doesn't feel good. So you don't want to spend time there. But then there's that one day where you're like, that's it. I'm going in. And think about what happens. It actually, in the beginning, it looks worse. And it looks worse because now you're like, I'm going to donate that. I'm going to toss that. I'm going to fix that. I'll put back what's left. Right. So you do. And you donate and you toss and you put things in the car you're going to take to have fixed or whatever you do. And you get your fancy boxes or whatever you get and you put back what's left. And think about it. Now you feel a sense of pride. You feel this sense of accomplishment. You feel empowered because of how beautiful this space is. And it's only because you dove in and did it. You cannot enjoy that feeling of accomplishment, of pride, of change, unless and until you dive in. That's what it takes when you are healing, moving through shattered trust and betrayal. And the way to it is by facing it, feeling it, and healing it. So I hope that helps you. And if you are sabotaging yourself, just know there's a really good reason for it. You don't want to create that shakeup around you, but there's that calling for something. There's something calling you to play a little bit bigger. It's always in your best interest, but it's not also the kind of thing that you should do alone. There's so much support, and reach out for support. I have, let's see, I'm going to drop a link right here. Subscribe to Debi.com. That just has, of course, we are the PBTinstitute.com, but subscribe to Debi just has a whole bunch of little links. So if you want to follow our podcast or blogs or whatever is of interest to you, we have it there. But I just wanted to make sure that you're not sabotaging yourself because it's keeping you from everything you want. I hope that helps. Are you sabotaging yourself? As you hear me say so often, you can't change what you're not aware of. So if you realized you've been sabotaging yourself, that's a great first step. The next step is to get really clear on why you've been doing it, because there's always some type of benefit you believe you're receiving. Like maybe you feel it keeps you from outgrowing a relationship, it keeps the peace, or it's just too much work to make a change. No judgment around whatever you discover, but at least you know what's at the root of it. Then, if you decide it's something you want support with, of course, I'd love to help. Take a look at what's going on within the PBT Institute, where every day we're helping our members move through the 5 stages from betrayal to breakthrough so they can feel safe again, love again, trust again. Go to the PBT, as in post-betrayal transformation, the pbtinstitute.com/join to learn more. Can't wait to be with you next time, and here's to your breakthrough.